Mostly the band and I do not coordinate. We don't say, hey, play this song because this is what I'm talking about. And we didn't do that this week. And what the song's about is exactly what I'm talking about this week. The man in the mirror, that would be me. So for me, this week was about high relationship and what it really means. And looking at myself in terms of that, looking at the community in terms of that, looking at how I relate to folks, how folks relate to me, how we relate to each other in community, and in myself, how I'm relating to myself. And so something extraordinary happened last week. Let's see, what happened was something occurred that in the past would have set me off in a way that would have been very volatile. And what I found myself doing instead was sitting with it, being with it. And the word that's new for me that I'm using these days is metabolize my upset in a way that my nervous system calmed down. Just calmed down. I wasn't swallowing it. I wasn't acting out with it. Because there's only 3 things you do with upset. You act out, you swallow it, or you metabolize it, where you just kind of becomes a part of you, where you relax into it. And so what set this off was I have told you this Zen story before about Is That So? It's about this master, he's in a monastery, and one day this family comes busting in and going, our daughter says you're the father of the baby. And he goes, is that so? And they hand him the baby and they leave. And his reputation is ruined. He's kicked out of the monastery. He goes off and raises the baby. And after a couple of years, the family comes back all apologetic and says, I'm sorry, she finally admitted who the real father is. We'll take the baby back. And they do. And he just goes, is that so? And I always thought about that koan as being about, when he's saying, is that so, about what's going on out here. And recently, it got pointed out to me that what it's really about is what's going on in here. That it's okay if I get upset about what's going on, as long as I'm being with the upset. Now, the second you, me, or anyone puts a story on top of the upset, now you've separated yourself from it. And even if it's really clear, like, you did this, that's why I'm upset. The second you go, you did this, you are no longer able to metabolize that upset because now you're in the story, which is in your head. And metabolizing happens in the body. The second we have a story, we're off. And so one of the ways in which I'm using is that so is, oh, I have a story. Because it isn't like my mind just shuts off, right? Our stories run. But now, this is so new for me that it's really interesting to talk about, because of course one of the things that I'm working with is this going to last? Is this kind of calm, breathing, just being with what's going on, going to hold up? I was walking with John and we were talking about this and he said, may this last. And I'm like, I'm with you on that. Because of course that's what I want. But whatever it does, this is a brand new experience for me. To feel these levels of upset just wash through me. And to feel it, because one of the things we're always dealing with is our nervous system. Right? Our nervous system gets dysregulated when we get upset, when something happens that we feel trespassed, something happens that feels like we've been wronged, or whatever. We get a diagnosis, somebody says they don't want to be with you anymore, whatever it is, we get fired. These things can be very dysregulating to our nervous system, or am I the only one? And it has been for me my whole life, because I've always taken things very personal, and I still do. But the thing that shifted just last week was me sitting in and what was personal was, how am I being now? Am I wanting to lash out? Is that so? Am I wanting to blame somebody? Is that so? Am I wanting to eat it so that I look like the spiritual leader I'm supposed to look like? Is that so? And just being with that has been just extraordinary for me. Now, I've been working on this at least 25 years. So part of me is going, thank God, finally, This may be the practice that finally shifted the way I relate to myself, but I've been at this a long time through all the classes we've offered here, through all the other practices I've taken on in my life. And so this change that's happened, that I'm feeling now in myself, is just so, And so one of the things that has gone on with Ash and I through the years is when we put on a show, there's a lot of stress around that. And I have never in the past related well to that stress. And so it's always led to some fairly large blowouts between Ash and I. And so we do this show Friday night, and there's stress building around it, and I'm not separating myself from it. I'm not like, I'm not taking this on kind of thing. I'm right in there with her, except I'm not getting all boiled up. My temperature isn't rising. And at the moments I started feeling it rise, I was like, oh, my temperature's rising, is that so? Instead of going, if she'd only calm down, then I'd be fine. I didn't do that. Maybe for a minute, but that was it. That was it. 1 minute. But when I did it for that minute, I noticed that I was doing it and was like, is that so? And immediately shifted it. It was so cool. It was so cool to just watch myself be in that and go, And so I'm sitting at my desk as we're waiting to come on, and I'm just playing on my phone as all this energy's going on, yada, 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 and I'm just sitting there playing on my phone going, this is so cool. But I wasn't detached. I kept asking, is there something I can do? How can I help? What can I be around this? I wasn't detached. I was with it in a way that I have never experienced in my life. And that's the coolest part of this teaching and the spiritual practices. That at whatever age you are, there's always the next level you get to experience. There's always the new thing that you get to feel and have in your life that then you get to walk with and go, wow, this is really new. This feels really good. I'm really happy about this, about how I'm being. Maybe I'm not happy about the experience, but I'm happy about how I'm being in it. And that shifts it. the experience is then different because I'm having a very different experience in some tough situations that I haven't had before. And so that happened last week. And we had the leadership here had a meeting on last Monday, around strategic planning and how we're moving forward. And that meeting was led by your associate spiritual leader, Ashley Fuller Rubin. It was led by your president of the board, Enid, and Dario, and your chairman of the operations department, Carol Secord. They led this meeting, and they led it from such a high level of relationship. Your leaders led this thing brilliantly. I participated a little bit, but mostly I stayed out of the way because it was brilliant. And what they came up with in terms of next steps and how we're going to move forward was magnificent. And I just sat there going, this is what high relationship looks like when we're with each other. They did that. Your leaders did that. There were 12 people in the room, and they did that. Me, I just participated. They did that. And so that's what's happening behind the scenes, some of that, right? Some of that. What else is going on behind the scenes? Well, there's still other things going on here and dynamics and stuff that you'd find in any relationship, in any community. High relationship has coherence as its main way of being. It starts with, are you coherent with yourself? Are you being fully coherent in your own body to where when stuff happens that you don't like, that sets you off or whatever, can you metabolize it? Can you be in a high enough relationship with yourself so that you're not acting out, not holding on to it, resentment, not trying to distance yourself from it, like, I don't want no part of this, but instead, just being able to see it as part of your personal healing process. That's number one. And then number two, how do you do that in community? How do you bring that forth when somebody else is behaving in a way that you feel trespassed by, that's putting you off, and you're like, I didn't sign up for this. Coherence. How to look for that? Well, the first thing you got to do is asking the question. How do we find coherence in this? Because it's not about agreement. It's not about being nice. It's about being steady and clear. That's it. That's what I'm learning. Steady breath, clarity. Steady breath, clarity. When we stay in that, that's the miraculous place that things happen. When we shift out and start thinking that, oh, it's got to look like this, or this is what's right, or this is how it has to be. The second we get in a place, the second I get in a place of where I am certain I am right, coherence is gone. Classes should be free. Well, that's a stance. Classes should be paid for. That's a stance. But neither one has coherence as its top priority and as a community and as first as in yourself. Finding coherence is that place that then allows for coherence to metabolize through a community. Otherwise, the community is the same as every other community ever throughout the history of mankind. So it's our job. Yes, some people come in a community and they're not really joining. They're just here until things get out of hand, or they see something they don't, or get out of hand according to them, see something they don't like, react in a way that's okay, and then they pull back. Well, that's not ownership of the community. And that's okay. But then let's be clear. Like I said, coherence is a high relationship is not about being nice. It is about being clear. Where are you in this community? There's no right or wrong about it. But if we're all going to stand and we're all going to build something together, then it's together. Then you're part of either you're part of the coherence or you're not, and you know it. The way I know it, when I'm not part of the coherence or not. Where do we stand with all this? Where do we stand with all this? Man, that has been such a huge question for me as we move in community. Apollo 11 was out traveling around the moon, and on the way back, their oxygen tank blew up. And all of a sudden, all these people had only one thing in mind: how to keep these guys alive. Nobody cared anymore about who was in charge, who was this, who was that. They had one focus. We need to somehow create a carbon dioxide filter so that these guys can have oxygen and breathe and make it home alive. And that was it. Now, when something like that happens, coherence becomes really easy, right? Life and death is on the line. Everybody either pulls together or there's dead people. And so all the kind of protocols and lines and the way people treated each other fell away. And all that was left was this one task. We got to figure this out. It could be the janitor who figures it out. We don't care as long as we keep these guys alive. And they did it. They pulled together with such coherence because it's so powerful, right? The thing about coherence is it actually creates something so powerful that it could save the life of 3 guys in space who had no air and make it so they made it home. That's how powerful coherence is when we drop what we think is important and focus on the bigger picture. And it's hard to do because we're all caught in our lives, right? We're all caught in, I've got this pain, or I've got this going on, and this isn't working for me, and I need to do this, and the way that person's talking, I don't like that, and what is going on here, and the stories that's being told, and all that kind of stuff that goes on. We can look at that and go, I don't want nothing to do with that. Or we can go, where's the coherence here? The larger picture is that we're trying to create something that actually isn't created very often on the planet. So we can all fall back into creating something that's always been, or we can reach bigger within ourselves and go, high relationship. Am I in this moment being in high relationship? Not is the other person being in high relationship. This isn't about looking at somebody else and going, are they being in high relationship? This is about asking ourselves, each of us, am I? In this moment, even if I think that person isn't, can we, in that moment, dig it deep enough within ourselves to go, I want to be in high relationship now. Not just for me, but for my community. If you hold this community as yours. Because that's what it takes for us all to build towards that. This has been an extraordinary week for me. I've run into all kinds of situations that used to annoy me. When I say used to, I'm talking 2 weeks ago. I mean, this is so brand new. I'm just astounded by it. The dog barking. I mean, just the little things that I used to just react to. It's not there now. And I'm like, wow, this is really fun. High relationship coherence with yourself. So how about, since this is a place of spiritual practice, we do a little spiritual practice around this. How's that sound? All right. Get comfortable in your seat. Take a deep breath and relax. And as always, we start with you being on your path. It's the perfect path. It is your path. How it feels beneath your feet. The air against your skin. The sights, the sounds, absolutely perfect for you. And it leads you to your sanctuary. Your sanctuary, your safe place. The sights, the sounds, how it looks, how it feels. And in the center is a chair. It is the perfect chair. It is your chair. So perfect for you that when you sit in it, you feel the Take another deep breath and relax even more. And from this place of relaxation, invite in that highest part of yourself, your higher self, your soul's intention, whatever you call it, invite it in. And in this very safe place, take a look at, are you in coherence with yourself? Are you in high relationship with yourself? Not to judge, not to make yourself wrong, just to see where a slight little correction might be in place, might be able to serve you better in being in a higher place. Breathe into the coherence you are now seeing as possible. Breathe into it, that deeper place of being in alignment with yourself. High relationship. And from this place of high relationship, now see yourself in this community, in high relationship. Feel your own coherence in this community. See how your coherence builds in the strength of all the coherence of all of us. That every one of us is impacting every one of us. In high relationship. Thank yourself for this experience. Thank yourself for the knowing that this is possible for you and for this community. That you can check in with yourself, whether you're in high relationship at any moment you remember to do so. You can check in with yourself, whether you are in coherence with yourself and others in any moment. Thank yourself for that. And when you're ready, come on back. This is what's possible, how you're feeling right now. with yourself, with others. This is the future that we talk about and think about and dream about for all of us, every chance we get. I love you. Thank you.